What is up guys, Stu here, and today we've got another London Film Festival review for you guys, for one which I have been incredibly excited to check out for a while. It's been on the top of my radar ever since it was released in the States a couple of months back, and everyone was like, yeah, this is incredible. That film is Brigsby Bear, which I was lucky enough to get an advanced press screening ahead of the festival for, so let's talk about that shit. Brigsby Bear, if you've not heard about it, is the story of a guy who is kidnapped at a very early age. He's raised by his captors until the age of 25, when he's then released and found by the FBI and put back into his normal world and returned to his birth parents. And whilst he was actually kidnapped, he was shown a series of episodes from a TV show called Brigsby Bear every day, which kind of helped him to learn about what he shouldn't be doing whilst he's being kidnapped there. And actually turns out that it's not real. It's not a real show at all, but now he's out. It's the only way that he can really make sense of the world, so he decides to go on a mission to complete Brigsby Bear once and for all in the form of a feature-length film about the character. And if that sounds mental and batshit and weird, it is mental and batshit and weird, which, as we all know, often provides the best basis of any film, because yeah, this one absolutely blew me. I loved it. It's such a wonderful film, this. I am beyond happy with Brigsby Bear. It's just one of those films which everything seems to click, everything seems to work, and right from the first frame and the first scene, I'm enjoying myself with this one. It is a wonderful time, and it's led by the amazing Kyle Mooney, who I absolutely love. This guy, I think he's hilarious in anything he does. He's one of those actors, comedians that pops up in things. He has small cameos here and there in different comedy films, but every time he's in it, he ends up being the best part of that film. So I was excited to see what he'd do carrying a film like this, and he's amazing. He smashes it here. Not only is he still hilarious to watch, delivering lines which had me genuinely laughing out loud throughout this film, he also managed to capture the emotion of the character, because it's a character that is been through shit. Despite the fact that this is, on the whole, a comedy film, it does deal with some pretty moving subjects in the form of someone being kidnapped and then returned to their birth parents 25 years later. There's some deep stuff in here, and so every now and then the character, or Kyle Mooney's performance, will tap into that side of things, and he does a fantastic job of mixing that with the kind of over-the-top, I guess, kind of awkward comedy style in the film. It blends really well. I couldn't imagine anyone else nailing this performance like he did. It's a sort of role which is just sort of made for Kyle Mooney. But surrounding him in the film, a bunch of other really great names here and there, most notably being Mark Hamill, who's got a small part in the film, but I just love that Mark Hamill's in this film. That was amazing to me. But there's also people like Claire Danes, and probably my favourite of the side big names in the film, Greg Kinnear as the police officer that's trying to help him whilst carry on with the investigation as to what the fuck happened to him. I thought Greg Kinnear was one of the most surprising parts of the film. I thought he was fantastic, and his relationship with Kyle Mooney in the film was just wonderful to watch grow throughout. The two of them have this really weird relationship which really made me laugh, and at the end was really quite touching. But what I love so much about this film is that it manages to blend loads of different kind of emotions and tones and styles, and it manages to succeed at pretty much every one of those things. I mean, you'd class it overall, I think, as a comedy film, and in that side of things, it is damn right fucking hilarious. It's probably one of the funniest experiences I've had in cinema for a long time. There are multiple lines in every scene of this film which had me laughing out loud, and they're the sort of lines which are just odd. They're just peculiar lines, so you laugh at it, and then like 5 minutes later you'll remember that they said that line, and you'll be like, that was just very odd, and you'll start laughing again. So you're just kind of non-stop giggling to yourself throughout this film, but not in a way that it just feels like it's purely just like, here's another gag, here's another gag, here's another gag. It all evolves naturally out of the stuff that's happening to all the characters in the screen. It is a very good sort of situational comedy here, which I really enjoyed, and I guess that's sort of to be expected with a bunch of the writers from Saturday Night Live working on this one. So yeah, comedy-wise, no problems here whatsoever. But it's the other end of the spectrum which really floored me as well. This is a deeply emotional film at points. It had me tearing up throughout, and it happens in that really weird way where you're laughing and you don't quite know you've been hit in the feels until you're crying, if that makes much sense. It's one of those surprise you're crying now films, which are often my favourite kind of emotional films. And I think part of the reason it's so successful at doing that is that it takes the time to build the characters through the comedy. It isn't just dumb, stupid jokes here and there. They are, I guess on the surface level, dumb, stupid jokes, but they're actually doing a lot to make you care about the characters. So when stuff starts happening, which is a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more emotional, you kind of don't really know it's happened, but you're completely on board with the characters, so it hits you a lot better in the heart. And that is probably the best thing I can say about this film overall. It has an insane amount of heart, It just bleeds through every frame in this film. It is the most lovely film I've seen in a cinema for a long, long time now. It just has so many lovely things to say about art and creating things. It's just the sort of film you need to watch if you're ever feeling like you're in a slump or you're lacking any enthusiasm to do anything. Just put Brigsby Bear on and it'll just put life back into you and you'll be like, yeah, I'm totally on board with whatever I need to do now. And that leads on to something else I love about the film. It's just a very specific positive here, but I love it when there's films that are about people making films. There's something about it. There's that creativity that you're seeing the process of someone making a really, really very, very independent film. It's just lovely to watch. I love watching that style of thing. It's part of the reason I absolutely adore Me and Earl and a Dying Girl. The moments in that where they're creating their weird, odd, quirky films that not everyone's on board with. That side of things carries over here when he's making this Brigsby Bear film and his friends and family are like, what is this shit? But they're just doing it anyway, and they're making something. It is just a joy to watch. It feels so rewarding as an audience member. The more I think about that, the happier it makes me, and the more I just want to get straight fucking back in that cinema and watch it again as many times as I can. I think if I had to fault it and come up with something I really didn't like about the film, I'd have to say that it does feel like it kind of rushes towards the end, at least in a sense of conflicts being resolved. But at the same time, I don't really think that's a huge problem. In fact, it didn't actually affect my rating of the film that much at all. It does exactly what I think it needs to do in the film to get exactly what it's trying to say across to an audience. So I can't really say that it's a big fault in the film for skipping past some things I would have liked to see more of. It's just a personal preference. I think I would have liked to have seen more. Because that almost kind of might just stem out the fact that I loved it so much I want it to be longer so I could have more of it. I'm going to go ahead and give it a very well-deserved 5 stars. Absolutely up there with my favourites of the year so far. I don't know where it places, but it's very, very high on my list. But what about you guys? Have you seen Brigsby Bear? I know it's been out in the States for a while now. Let me know what you thought about it if you have seen it over there. And if you're excited to see it, let me know about that in the comments below as well. I would love to know. And as usual, if you like this review and want to see me talk about more shit, please go ahead and click subscribe. But until next time, stay beautiful, mother truckers. Guacamole! I'm back again, just popping up after the titles for this London Film Festival stuff, because why the shit not? Just creeping in to let you guys know that there is a playlist right there that you can click on for the London Film Festival this year, all the reviews I'm putting out. It's going to be filling up the more reviews I put out from the festival. At the moment there's only 2 in there, which is one better than one. So it's got that going for it. But yeah, just click on that if you want to check out any more film reviews from the festival this year. That would be tasty. I've run out of things to say again, so I'm just leaving. Just leaving again.